There's a lot to be excited about with the new DCU. A fresh start, a clear plan, a filmmaker at the helm who actually gets comics. And to be clear right up front, I like James Gunn, and I like his movies, and overall I like his creative direction. So this isn't really a rage bait video, this isn't a big takedown of James Gunn and what he's doing with DC, because I'm not rooting against the DCU. It's actually the complete opposite. I just want good superhero films, especially ones willing to take creative risks. With the release of the Supergirl trailer though, I do have one lingering worry about the DCU. Not that James Gunn is in charge, but that he might be too creatively present in its earliest phase. So far we've had 3 DCU projects, either fully helmed or heavily shaped by James Gunn. Creature Commandos, which was created and written by Gunn, Superman, again written and directed by Gunn, and Peacemaker Season 2, which had James Gunn writing and directing a few episodes. And tonally, they feel very aligned. That slightly irreverent humour, the emotional sincerity undercut with irony, the love of needle drop music cues, and of course the ensemble found family energy. None of this is bad. In fact, it's worked very well for Gunn over the years. Audiences have shown to like his style, it's proven accessible, and most importantly, commercially successful. But when you line these projects up, it does start to feel like the DCU is launching with one dominant tone, rather than a spectrum of them. And if you love James Gunn's style, I get it, because I do too. So this isn't about stopping that voice, it's about making sure it isn't the only one the DCU ever speaks. And this isn't unprecedented. We've seen that what happens when a shared universe slowly bends towards a single aesthetic. During the Snyder era, the DCEU became Snyderified, not just visually but tonally. Desaturated colour palettes, operatic seriousness, and of course the slow-mo. And while I'm not a fan of Snyder's film personally, I can at least respect that they were a clear creative swing, a defined vision even if it didn't always land. The issue wasn't Snyder having a voice, it was that the entire universe started orbiting towards it. Now swap that for something else. Quirky humour, heavy use of music, self-aware dialogue, emotional beats softened with jokes. That's Gunn's coded storytelling. It's fantastic for Gunn projects. The question is whether it should become the default setting for DC as a whole. And if you are enjoying any of my film discussions on this channel, I'm really trying to put out loads more content. Please consider subscribing, as it really does help out the channel. And if we look at Kevin Feige as a comparison, Feige wasn't directing Iron Man, Thor, Captain America and Avengers all himself. His role was creating talent, protecting continuity, and setting guardrails, not painting the whole picture of the cinematic universe. The first few directors Marvel hired, Jon Favreau, Kenneth Branagh, the Russo brothers, Taika Waititi, Ryan Coogler, they all were different in their own ways. Of course, the MCU had a house style, but it also had creative diversity, and that's the key difference. James Gunn isn't just the architect of the DCU like Kevin Feige was for the MCU. Right now, he's one of the loudest creative forces within that universe. And my worry isn't about quality, it's about tonal sameness. We've already seen it with Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, and what we know so far about Supergirl. They all live in a similar tonal space, very Guardians adjacent. The Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow trailer leans heavily in that direction. The tone, the music cues, even with the visual language, it all feels very similar. Supergirl herself is framed in a way that immediately invites comparison, wearing a long coat, headphones, it's evoking a very Star-Lord coded vibe. Now that doesn't mean it's a Guardians clone, and the film could absolutely surprise us, but visually and tonally it reinforces the idea that Gunn's stylistic gravity is already being felt, even on projects he isn't directing. And of course that tone is popular, it works, there's a reason Warner Brothers have allowed James Gunn to tell his stories like this. The MCU has also run into this exact issue. Different characters, different settings, but increasingly the same rhythm, the same humour. DC's biggest strength has always been its contrast though. Superman shouldn't feel like Batman, Batman shouldn't feel like Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing shouldn't feel like Peacemaker. If everything passes through one creative filter, even a very good one in James Gunn's case, the universe risks feeling flat. And to be fair to Gunn, I generally don't think he misunderstands these characters. I don't think Batman is suddenly going to be quipping like Star-Lord, or that the Authority will be undercut by pop songs and jokes every 5 minutes. James Gunn ultimately does understand character, and obviously that was a huge reason why he was hired by Warner Brothers. So for me, this isn't a fear about incompetence, it's about the risk of over-familiarity. Now there is a very fair counter-argument to all of this. The DCEU struggled massively with early momentum. Everything felt rushed and there was no clear identity to the actual universe. So maybe the DCU projects, being very Gunn-esque, is intentional. Warner Brothers have clearly felt they need to use a proven, popular style to rebuild trust with audiences, establish continuity, and basically get people invested again. Once the universe is stable, then you can take bigger creative risks. And there are signs that this could be the plan. The perfect example is Swamp Thing. James Mangold is directing, someone with a very distinctive voice, and this is reportedly an R-rated body horror film. That alone suggests tonal ambition, something darker, stranger, and far removed from the Guardian style films that we're getting before. If projects like Swamp Thing are allowed to be fully themselves, then my worry largely disappears. Ideally, James Gunn evolves into less of a hands-on stylist and more of a creative creator. Someone who uses his voice to get the universe off the ground, then steps back to allow other filmmakers to swing big, even if those swings sometimes miss. Because I'd rather watch ambitious failures than safe sameness. Ultimately, my worry isn't that James Gunn will fail, it's that he might succeed too narrowly. If the DCU becomes great but only in one flavour, that would just be a huge missed opportunity. I want to see loads of creative voices taking big creative swings. So let me know what you think and if you want to see more videos like this.